to start with a perspective on our industry, right? From what we see with all our consulting engagements, right? And we basically have an insight from the state-of-the-art Silicon Valley engineering companies to the big financial institutes to smaller companies to engineering companies. What we observe is that the industry is struggling as it has never struggled before in efficiently manufacturing software. Software is becoming more and more complex, and it is a challenge that most organizations are not up to at this point, right? And it's interesting. So many trades have been professionalized, right? Sales, marketing, of course, the classical industries, but the trillion-dollar global software industry has not, right? It's still not, the manufacturing of software is not a professionalized craft. And I started Gradle out of my deep frustration about this fact, right? And the Gradle build tool does help substantially with improving efficiency of the manufacturing of software. And as you have seen, there's a lot more to come, but even the best locally installed build tool is limited in what it can do. If you want to deeply improve your software manufacturing efficiency, you need additional centralized services. And those centralized services are now a foundational part of Gradle. So Gradle just got better. What we call Gradle is from today on the Gradle build tool plus additional cloud services. And the first major service we are offering is called Build Scans. And I want to give you a quick demo on that feature. So what I want to do here, I'm in the Gradle source tree, and I just want to quickly compile all the classes. And what you can see here, -d scan, that tells, this way I tell the build, hey, connect with the Gradle Cloud Service and send the service some interesting data that we can look at later on. So I'm starting this build, and Gradle is compiling. And what you will see at the end of the build is the following. So 97%, 99, here we go. And you see this URL at the end of the build. So I just make this a little bit higher. And when you now go to this URL, you will see what we call a Gradle build scan. Just make this a little bit bigger. And this is extremely valuable metadata that we have collected to make it easier for you to understand what is going on in the build in a very deep way, right? So let's start with performance, right? We have a performance card, and can you read that in the last row? Yeah. Excellent. So what you can see here is, first of all, a breakdown, right? How long the different phases of the build take. And then you can see, okay, how long does the project configuration take per project? You can look at the dependency resolution, and we can see, at project configuration time, no dependencies are resolved. They're all resolved as task execution, as it should be. Thanks, Cedric, for taking out the dependency resolution at configuration time. We had in there for a couple of weeks. You can look at task execution. You can have different ways to order, basically, the task performance and the task profiling data. You have, I need to be smaller. You have very interesting data about the daemon, right? You can see the daemon on my machine is now alive for 1 hour, and this is the second build that was executed with the daemon. And finally, there's some interesting settings and suggestions depending on how you run a build. So in this case, we just sent you a little warning that a development version of Gradle was used, which might be less stable than the final version. But hey, I was using the daemon, parallel execution was enabled, so on that front, there's not much more I can do to make the build faster. We have a very powerful dependency search. So we collect all the dependencies that have been used for that build, and when I want now to search for Guava, you see within milliseconds, you see all the places where the Guava dependency is used, or you can look for other dependencies, and so easily understand what is going on with your dependency graph. What is also extremely helpful is that you have a very good understanding of which plugins are used in a build, right? So you can see and how often they are used, right? So for example, the base plugin is used in all of our sub-projects, but there's also a JSON plugin, interesting. I don't even know where this is used by, and then you can see, it's used by our documentation plugin, right? So for a build master to quickly understand and get this overview, which plugins are applied, this is invaluable information and extremely hard to figure out in any other way. So I show you a couple of other examples for build scans, right? So what is when you have test failure? So we collect all the test execution data, and and when tests are failing, right, you can go to the test details, and you can see the output of the test and search an error, so to easily understand what is going on. Another example is when you have a dependency resolution failure, we try to be very smart in terms of presenting you the reason why a build has failed, much better than we can do this from the command line, right? So in this case, we already show you the important snippet, right, that certain dependencies couldn't be resolved and where we have looked for those dependencies, etc. Right? What you get in any case, if we go back to the other build scan, we show you the full console output of a build, so nicely formatted and syntax highlighted and colored. So if there's any information in there that you might need, this is also available. And there's a lot more in those build scans, and I think this is an invaluable tool for working with Gradle builds. And so to learn more about this, right after this keynote, Etienne and Luc are presenting the details of our cloud service offering. I think very soon it will be hard to imagine how a build team can work without insights of this quality, right? How can you optimize the build without having hard performance data, right? I mean, we all know that in larger organizations, or when you provide something for the outside world, people are saying, my build is slow, right? And you're wondering, well, I don't know, what can I do? I need more insights to understand why is it slow, right? How can you improve the user experience without understanding what the user experience is? How the users are using your build? What switches they're enabling? How is it used from their local machines? When I go to clients, right, and to the build teams, and I ask them questions like, are they enabling the daemon? Are they running -- parallel? The most common thing I get, well, I don't know, right? We don't know how the developers are using our build. So you can't optimize without understanding that. And how can you teach your developers best practices when you don't know what their practices are? But there is more to build scans than that. There are, I think, other deep aspects that we can improve. The relationship between the build team and the dev team, even in the best organizations, has some friction, right? You might have encountered that. So there are two types of behaviors that are particularly damaging, but unfortunately also very common. Developers spreading fear, uncertainty, doubt about the build. The build is so slow. What are those guys doing again, for example, right? And it is easy for developers to do that when they cannot be held accountable for their claims. When their build experience is a secret knowledge they only have. And when you don't have the data to show, well, you added that language that has this terribly slow compiler, right? Or something similar. On the other end of the spectrum, there are build masters completely ignoring truly bad build experiences by the developers, right? And their complaints are not taken seriously. and the developers don't have easy access to data that backs up their claim. They can't easily see whether other developers are having the same issues. That is deeply frustrating. So with our cloud service, we will create accountability for both sides. And this will be very, very healthy and will improve the relationship or will show the path to necessary changes. Right? I never forget that meeting I was invited to a couple of years back, 15 people in a room representing a 500 people engineering team. And build masters, engineers, architects, and they were yelling at each other for minutes about what the major reasons are that their build is failing so often, right? It was an interesting experience. They couldn't agree on the major reason and continued as they have done before, very inefficiently. So those days are over with Gradle build scans and Gradle build analytics. So one other important aspect is the build tool is probably one of the most cursed developer tools. Why is that the case? Well, first of all, it tells you very often that something is wrong, and very often it cannot help you very much in figuring out why something is wrong. That is not a combination to make good friends, right? So developers are stuck and frustrated, and with build scans, we can help developers to better understand what is going on, to get unstuck, right? When it comes to test failures, dependency management, there's a lot of features we are planning to make Gradle build scans and the Gradle Cloud Services smarter and smarter, that they can better and better point out to developers where the problem for a certain error is, right? And finally, with build scans, it becomes super simple to efficiently ask for help. Hey, this is the build scan, can you have a look at it? And not, can you run the build in debug mode? Can you check this property file? Can you upload your test reports, etc., right? So finally, the work of the build team is, in my experience, often not fully appreciated in an organization, right? Although the build teams can create tremendous return on investment for an organization, right? In terms of R&D budget savings and time to market. It's heavily affected by the quality of your work. With build scans and build analytics, you will get hard data from our services to show the value that you are creating. And as our offering evolve, making it easy to share the value you are creating will be a first-class function, right, of build receipts. And I think that is very important. You save real hard dollars for an organization, so it's great when you can show that. So I would like to talk a little bit more how we are framing our offerings, right, and the different layers that we have. So for the Gradle build tool, nothing has changed except that we now call it the Gradle build tool instead of just calling it Gradle, right? It's Apache version 2 licensed. You saw the exciting progress. You saw the exciting roadmap. We're investing millions of dollars of R&D into it. It is at the heart of our ambition to change the industry, right? And nothing has changed. What comes now on top is the cloud services. The cloud services are an additional Gradle capability that we have added, and it makes Gradle so much more powerful. So creating, viewing, and sharing build scans is a free service, right? And this service, and it is, we see as a fundamental part of the Gradle ecosystem, right? It's not just some teaser, it's a free service that we make an integral part of Gradle. We will deeply integrate this into the Gradle build tool, that you don't need to do any setup for creating build scans, and it makes Gradle even more exciting platform. And finally, I'm very excited to present you the Gradle Enterprise subscription offering. So Gradle Enterprise is an on-premises version of our cloud services with additional features. It is available today, and Luke will demo you the product right now.
Thank you, Hans. So what we're looking at here is, Hans mentioned that Gradle Enterprise is the on-premises version of what we saw before. So this is something that you can install today. As Hans said, we are offering it today. Come and talk to us about it if you like what you see here and would like to get it going in your enterprise. So what we've got here is the first Gradle Enterprise exclusive feature. And what I'm actually seeing here is a list of all the build scans that have been pumped into the system. So here I can see the user that created this, whether the build passed or not, the name of the root project, what was run, and some other metadata. The important thing to think about here is that this isn't just my CI builds. These are all my builds, all developers, all machines across the whole enterprise, all projects. That's a level of information you haven't had before. So I can come in the morning and see what happened in the previous day. See, okay, well, tell me which builds by Tom failed? No. What have you been doing, Tom? No, I would go and help him with his problem then, of course. So I can search by user, whether things fail or not, for particular projects. I can get very specific, looking at different time ranges, all this kind of stuff that you would expect. I can see what ran on which machine. Perhaps I want to see all the builds from a particular CI machine or a particular workstation, that kind of thing there. Of course, I can clear this. Of course, I can go and sort things. I can say, well, show me the slowest builds.
Do we have it for Gradle itself?
That ran yesterday. Slowest pass builds, fast fail builds, those kind of things. How many times has someone gone and looked at this build scan? See, that's interesting. Something's going on with this particular build. Maybe developers or build engineers are collaborating around this. It's been viewed 6 times or however many. So I think this is a really great capability to have and to surface a level of information about how your projects are going and how your builds are actually doing in the wild, right? How are your developers running it? What's actually going on? And of course, from here, I can click through and see the actual build scan itself. So this is something that, like I said, is available today. And it's a very, very simple application to get going. So installing this is about 3 commands. It's a fully containerized solution. Any kind of modern Linux system will do. We'll set you up and our application starts running, manages all of this stuff happening in the background. Here's a bunch of containers running at different bits of the software. You can see how CPU is doing, how is memory going, all these kind of things. So just the general maintenance is there. A very important aspect of this is just the beginning. As Hans said, we have very elaborate and ambitious plans on what we're going to be delivering over the coming months in terms of features. And if you install Enterprise, getting those new features is as simple as, if I'm connected to the network, yeah. So it's actually installing a new update, a new version of Enterprise as we push out new features is as simple as coming into this admin console that you also get with it, clicking this button, it will download the new updates from our servers, install them, and away you go. So as we're rolling out new features over the coming months and years, you'll be able to very easily get those going. And it takes care of a bunch of other things for you. Of course, configuring all aspects of the installation is very simple. SSL configuration, where you want to store all this stuff. You can go and have a look at the logs and whatnot. If you want to see when was the version updated, who deployed new updates of this software, that's all in there. And importantly, if for some reason you're having some trouble with your installation, something's not quite working, there's a feature here where you can download the support bundle, which is effectively a snapshot of your installation. Send that to us, we can help you reconfigure it, get it going again. So really easy to operate, really easy to administer and maintain. Provides backups, all that kind of stuff. Moving it across machines, scaling it up, down is also very simple. So this is something that we're offering today. So if you're interested in this, please come talk to us. We'll be outside, so the main lobby area, and we'd love to show you in more detail.